All right, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another episode of Lead Therapy. This is number 49. Hold on one second. Ah. There we go. I didn't have my little sign on. Can't start the show without my little sign. All right, let's see. We have a very, very cool guest. I see you're waiting in the wings. Man, let me tell you, you want to talk about someone that's very nice, but all business. Annette Evans is absolutely all business. All right, so let's see who's in the chat real quick. Fluffy, E-Rock, Jesus, and me. Awesome. So I met this next guest at a CCW Safe event in Oklahoma, and I know I had a great time. I got to meet so many cool people, and she was definitely top two. So Philip, if you're watching, Philip Naman, you're number one still, baby. Don't worry. No gay. All right. So without further ado, let's add her to the live stream, Miss Annette Evans.
Hi. Thanks for having me on.
on.
Not a whole lot. You see my cat is already joining us tonight.
See, that's another thing I really like you. You're a cat person.
Cat people are the best people. You know that.
Right? So here's a funny quick story. I was on ar15.com years and years ago, and I said, post a picture of your pet. Most of those guys had cats. And I thought they'd be like, they're hardcore operator types. I thought they'd all have dogs. No, they have cats because they can just leave them. And, cats are, you don't exactly have to work very hard to keep the affection of a cat. They're very simple creatures.
Yes. And Tuna says she may be simple, but she's very, very smart. And she's well able to be left home alone when I'm traveling and training and doing all the things that I do.
Nice. I know I have two cats myself, and I love them to death. My cat, I have Bullet and Ming Ming. So Bullet's new thing, he is very dependent the last couple months. So his new thing is to crawl up in my arm, put his head over my arm, and then claw into my underarm to get attention at night.
Oh, that's adorable.
It's adorable.
That's super sweet.
But he definitely wakes you up with that. I mean, it hurts. It hurts. All right. So in the chat, guys, if you have questions for Annette, please feel free to ask any question. And so Annette, man, I saw you and I met you. I got to talk to you for 20 minutes, and I'm like, man, I got to know more about this girl. So tell everybody kind of like who you are, and on her own. That's like a website you just started, because I started reading some of the stuff you're posting, and it's very articulate.
Thank you. So On Her Own started about 2.5 years ago now, and I like to call it sort of my my dissertation. So I started shooting over 15 years ago now, because I thought that every girl should learn how to shoot a gun. It's kind of like on my list of things, like learning how to change a flat tire and learning how to plunge a toilet and unclog a sink and
hit a golf ball.
So these are all sorts of things. It was a life skill that I wanted to learn. So I went out. My then husband had the opportunity to go to a range as sort of like a team building activity at his workplace. And I went, well, you got to go to the range. I want to go to the range. So I went, and we fell in love with it. It used to be sort of our date day activity to go to the range. And I went down this whole path of, well, now I know how to shoot, and I want to buy my own gun. And then I'd feel awful silly if I had this gun in my house and I didn't know how to use it for self-defense or for home defense.
Right.
And then I'm taking this gun, and I got a concealed carry permit because I wanted to go back and forth to the range and maybe stop for dinner. Remember, this is a date thing for us. And then I had to get another state's concealed carry permit because I live near a state border, and we would.
Where are you located? Where are you located
I'm in
now?
The Philadelphia area.
Oh, okay.
So, we'd like jump over into Delaware to get back to Pennsylvania to go to the range. I'm like, well, need a concealed carry permit so I could stop for dinner in Delaware. And then as long as I'm bringing my gun to and from the range, I feel really silly if. And you could see how this went down the path. I learned how to I learned how to draw a gun from a holster because, concealed carry.
Right.
And then I went, well, how do I practice this? And you know that most commercial ranges don't allow you to practice drawing from a holster. And that's how I got into competition. And I was a very active competitive shooter for many years, probably 7, 8, 9 years. Competed primarily in USPSA, competed in 3-gun, shot for a couple of major manufacturers and companies. And then I took a step back when some things changed in my personal life and spent a lot of time going back to, my defensive shooting roots, and went and started doing some combatives classes. So I got to train with Craig Douglas of ShivWorks, and then I worked my way through the entire rest of the ShivWorks collective. I started jujitsu, and I spent a lot of time learning about, sort of the psychology of criminals and what happens in crime and the psychology of victims. And all of this stuff has coalesced into On Her Own. And On Her Own is, there's this idea that women are somebody's something. Right? We are moms, we are wives, we are sisters, we are daughters. And that's a wonderful thing, that connection. But sometimes we aren't for whatever reason. Life takes us that way, or we strike out on our own, or there's a difficult family. And I started wondering, well, especially in the self-defense industry, how do we talk about that? How do we talk about our motivations for learning to protect ourselves when we're not doing it because, I have to protect my baby?
Right.
And I started thinking about, well, what does it take to really defend ourselves and live a good life? Because it's not just about, oh, I'm going to carry a gun and shoot a bad guy, right? There's so much more that goes into surviving. What's a lot more likely to happen would be something like a car accident or a flat tire. So how do you deal with a flat tire? How do you cook for yourself? How do you live by yourself and do all the things that allow you to survive life? And like I like to say, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. What do we have to do to thrive as women on our own?
Right. I think honestly, so the more I look at your website and your content, I'm like, they should teach this as an elective in school. It's common sense stuff. Well, besides, I don't know, maybe not the gun stuff, but I think honestly in school, there's so much good stuff because my wife gets mad at me now because I make her do a lot of her own stuff. Like her battery died. I'm like, just go take it. They'll change it. She's, can you do it for me? I'm like, no. My greatest fear is for me to die or something happen to me and then she not be able to take care of herself or the kids or kind of freak out. But she's so strong and independent. But when I first met her, I was doing a lot of the stuff and I'm like, you can't. I know it's kind of a jerk thing to do to make her go take it for her oil change and all that, but you have to be independent and I'll support you 120%, but you gotta be more independent.
I mean, it's great to have that push to, go do that yourself, but I'll be right here, like telling you who to call, what to say, how to do it. I'll be your
100%.
support. In fact, I'll go with you. And when they start talking to me, I'll be like, it's her car.
Right.
And you can build your way up to that. And at some point, it might just be you're traveling, you're out of town that weekend in Oklahoma. So you got to manage your home and your kids and everything else. And
I
what
thought we were going to
happens
die, by the way, in that tornado.
with that tornado?
Were you in my van or you in the next van?
I was still on property when we got, yeah, it was.
So in case you guys don't know, we were at the CCW Safe event and we were supposed to last till like 8 o'clock. And they're like, well, let's load the vans early and go. I'm like, okay. And then as we were starting to drive, it got really dark and everybody's phone started beeping and beeping about tornado warnings. The guy next to me was doing the sign of the cross. Even I text my wife. I'm like, I don't know. I've seen Twister, man. I know how these things end. This could not go well. But so Jesus in the chat says, I wish my wife had that same mindset. 100%.
Yeah. And that's part of what On Her Own is how do we get there? Because so many of us have been taken care of, and that's a good thing.
Right.
It's wonderful when we are taken care of, when people take care of each other. It's just what happens at those moments when we're not. So.
Right. And so how long you been doing jiu-jitsu? 4 years now?
4 years this month.
And you're blue belt?
I am a new 4-stripe blue belt. I just got promoted a
Nice.
couple weeks ago,
The
so
blue
I'm
belt
really
curse.
excited about that.
Everyone quits at blue belt.
Nope, they're stuck with me now. I will be doing jujitsu for a long time to come. I really, really love it.
I miss it. I did it for 4 months because my kids were doing it and I wanted to kind of, do what they do. And the respect I have for these guys is amazing. Like their coach who teaches every kids class is a UFC fighter.
Wow.
Like he's fighting in 2 weeks. He knocked out, who did he knock out? Cowboy Cerrone. Yeah. So his last fight, he knocked out Cowboy. Is Alex Morano.
So why aren't you still training?
Well, it's because I have lots of excuses, Annette. Okay. Let's not talk about me. Let's go talk. So I tore my rotator cuff. So I'm 4 months in the class and I was surviving just because I was heavier than all these guys. The only reason I wasn't getting tapped nonstop is because I have the weight advantage, but that's the only advantage. So I would stack them and then I'm like, okay, now what do I do? I don't know. And I would just get stuck. So 4 months in, I know I'm almost going to get my first stripe on the white belt. I'm feeling cocky and I'm like, man. So the guy rolling with me, we're doing rotation. He goes, you feeling good? I'm like, yeah, man, do your worst.
Oh,
I
no.
want to see what it's like to go brown belt. Well, I want to see what it's like
so
to really, really go balls out. And he goes, are you sure? I go, yeah. Tore my rotator cuff.
Oh, no.
Not a full tear, but enough where I was crying like a baby. And it's funny, I had to wear a suit the whole week after, and I couldn't put the suit on because it hurt so bad.
Oh.
And so after it healed, I just never went back.
Well, today is a good day to look at it again, and tomorrow's a good day to get started.
Listen, Ned. Anyway, about you.
About me. I saw a couple of questions in the chat, so why don't we just kind of take a side swipe into those?
Are you shooting for competition?
So right now,
let's start. What was your evolution? What was your first pistol to what you're shooting now?
So I showed up to my first couple of matches, like I tell everyone to show up with the gear that you already own. So nothing special. I showed up with my carry gun, and I showed up, which was a Car P9 Covert.
That's tiny though.
Yeah, PM length grip, P length slide, and I had a full size SIG 226 DAC that was kind of like my matching pistol, and I shot those for a little bit, and it went terrible. I was a very bad competitive shooter, so anybody who's like, I'm not good enough to do this, like, you can't be worse than I was when I started. I promise.
I was a bad competitive shooter.
I was very I used to come in last place, so last place they weren't sure I shot the same match and only once. Like it was very bad. I eventually went.
You shoot. You've gotten a lot better.
There's hope for everybody. I went from that to a Smith & Wesson M&P 9L. So the long slide M&Ps in the first generation. I shot that to B class in USPSA. And then I switched out of that when I joined Team SIG, and I shot the SIG P320 for several years. And right now, I still shoot for Gray Guns. Bruce Gray is one of the top gunsmiths in the country, certainly top SIG gunsmith in the country. And he built me this beautiful 5-inch bull barrel titanium grip module 320 monster that I just started shooting this year in preparation for my return. It's about a 42, 44 ounce gun.
So that's about the same as a Legion.
Yeah. So it's very similar to the TXG Legions, like the Spectre Comp and stuff like that you've seen out there. But it's been kind of tuned a little bit special and balanced out a little bit special. And I
tell you what, so I have the misfortune and good fortune at the same time of shooting with a really good friend of mine who has a lot of very cool guns. And he's forced me to shoot better because he'll get his staccatos and he'll get his checkmate CZs, and he'll shoot the holes out of all the targets. And when I first started shooting with him, I'd put up the big blue target and just try to everything within the 8, I'm a winner. And then I looked over one day and I'm like, man, this is embarrassing. His targets are all the way at the wall. Mine are 7 yards out. And so I was forced to shoot better and then to shoot his guns. So now I just picked up the green CZ.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the grip, YouTube, just the grip. And then I just fought like crazy to put a red dot on this sucker. because it wasn't, the screws weren't going in. It was a disaster.
That's
Plus, I'm not
frustrating.
exactly the handiest guy.
That's
So I shoot
frustrating.
this, and I just picked up a Masterpiece Arms double stack 1911, which is phenomenal. So when I
Yeah.
was shooting with you guys at the CCW event, every time they'd paint the targets, I didn't want to shoot until the targets got messed up. Because like you and Mickey, they were all shooting these real tight groups, and mine were still all over the place. If I hit the steel at all, so I would just sit back, wait till the targets got messed up, then I would shoot. But you were killing it. Mickey was killing it. There were some really good shooters there.
Yeah, I mean, I've known several of the guys who were there before, before that event, and a lot of them have been shooting a long time. Have been shooting very thoughtfully too.
Who was
And
that real big guy? Did you know him?
sensor keepers.
That's right. He makes
Yep.
the holsters.
Yep. So one of the
So
things to remember though is there's nothing that any of us do that any of you can't do.
yeah, so he
You know.
was showing me how to hold the gun correctly.
Hmm.
Did you see that where he was like this, and I'm holding it, and I'm like, he started press your palms together. I was like, it kind of hurts, and he goes, I don't give a shit. And this is a large individual, so I was like, yes, sir, I'll do it. But it improved my shooting
Yep.
like that. And then Mickey was talking about how I was off balance. So in that, in 20 minutes, my shooting improved leaps and bounds. It
I mean,
was
it's
great.
it's one of the reasons to go take classes with really good instructors, good technical shooters, if you want to improve your technical shooting, right? So I kind of separate out my shooting skills from some of the other defensive skills sometimes. That's one of the reasons I love competition shooting, is it lets me go to the pure shooting part, and then I go to jujitsu for the pure fighting part, and then I do like combatives to mix it all together.
Yeah. Jesus, what part of PA are you from? PA
I
is
am.
not that big.
I mean, it's only about 6 to 8 hours to drive across the state.
Oh, I guess it's kind of big.
It's kind of big. Like, yeah, it's kind of big. I am in Philadelphia, so I'm in the western suburbs of Philadelphia, down in the southeast corner of the state.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yep.
Um, ADX, so you used to shoot with Lena at SIG.
So it's actually, our time at SIG did overlap for a little while. Yeah.
Who's Lena? I don't
Lena
know any.
Michalek,
Oh, crap.
Jerry's daughter.
Yeah. Which is weird because I saw her the other day next to her dad, and I was like, she's cute. And then she stood next to her dad. I was like, oh. And she jokes around about it. She goes, I look really hot until I'm standing next to my dad.
Because she looks just like her father.
She is so funny, though. She is hilarious. It was at the Gundies.
Hmm.
She's a riot. I got to talk to her for a few minutes. Gosh, she's a good shot, too.
She is fantastic. Really, really excellent shooter. It's been super fun watching her over the years.
Oh, that's right, because she's still kind of a youngster.
I mean, I think everybody's young right now, so yeah.
I tell you, the YouTube game, I was just talking to another content creator now. We're both in our 40s, and we're like, these young guys going with the TikTok and the IG, they're so good at editing and putting things together. I just got to start a reaction video channel or something now. I'm getting pushed out. I'm just the old guy. I'm the old guy now.
I don't understand TikTok. That was the moment I felt old. Was I didn't understand TikTok.
Right.
Sorry, I was like, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter now. Even I know I'm like 10 years late to Twitter, but whatever. But like I'm on these things, and then I'm like, TikTok.
I can't do it unless you're gonna do one of those silly dances. Forget it. I don't know.
I have a couple Instagram reels that have done pretty well though, so I guess there's
Nice.
that.
All right. Speaking of your website, everybody, please go over to her YouTube channel. I just posted a link in the description and subscribe to her YouTube channel. Annette has lots of solid content, and I'll put a link to her website on her own in just a little bit. But I got to open a new window, subscribe to her YouTube. How many subscribers do you have on your YouTube now?
Not
180?
not a
Let's
whole
get
bunch.
over 200.
Yeah, 182. I will be honest, I haven't been putting a ton of stuff up there because what did we just say about that whole like video editing thing and everything else? Although
Right.
I've got some ideas for some shorts, I just need to. I need one of my training partners to recover from his shoulder surgery.
You know what I think would be really, I mean, you could take this with a grain of salt. What a really like a day in the life of Annette and how you deal with, like, you have all these great subject lines. Like, for one, how to buy a gun for your girlfriend, whatever. Don't. You take her shooting and you let her pick her own gun. I'm guilty of it too. I took my wife and I got her a subcompact XD 9mm back years ago, and it was terrible.
Not the
She
right choice.
hated it. And that would be a great video because, or another one, how to get your wife into shooting more. My wife shoots, she's okay, but she doesn't shoot enough. Like, I want her to really enjoy it, really go with me. I want it to be our thing, because I really love it. I want her to love it. How do you get your spouse? So, as a very good shooter and a woman, how would you suggest for all us losers out there try and get our wives into shooting? Because I'm out of ideas.
So that's a super, super hard one because you can't force hobbies on people, right? Like it's just like anything else, like cooking or hiking or music or anything
Yeah.
else that you can think of that you think is fun, is you can't force things on somebody and say, you have to enjoy this. Now, there are some things you can do. Make this a trade. You get genuinely interested in participating in her hobby and say, hey, can you come participate in mine? You can lower the barriers to her participation. So this might mean, hey, let's go shoot 22 because you actually find that fun and enjoyable. Or let's go just plink at targets because you find that fun and enjoyable. Or maybe it's, hey, would you like to join a women's shooting league? A girl and a gun or one of the other groups, and say, hey, I'll babysit the kids. I'll pay for it. I'll do whatever it takes to make it easy. I'll cook dinner that night. And
Yes.
it's kind of the same way as, like, I get a lot of guys who are like, well, how do I get my wife to go take a training class? I'm like, do you know why your wife doesn't want to take a training class? It's because she's got to deal with the kids all week and she's got to clean the house. She's got to do the groceries for next week. She's doing meal prep and everything else. And then you want her to go take 16 hours plus travel time to go take a class.
Right.
So what are you
So,
going to do to make it easier?
my wife's hobby. So, okay, I will go to a Kohl's and we'll walk around that store for 2 hours looking at sale racks if she'll go shoot with me. That's a fair trade.
And will she love it? Maybe, maybe not. But maybe you can find a way to find that middle ground. Right? Maybe it's,
Sounds
hey,
fair.
if you come with me, if I'm going to go shopping with you for 2 hours, you come to me with the range for 2 hours. What do you want to do to not hate being at the range for 2 hours?
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe it's, let's go to the outdoor range.
well, it's unfortunate locally here in Houston, Texas. There was a Spring Guns. They had a women's shooting club. They would meet every other
Mhm.
week on a Thursday, and it was great. Except they would meet, talk about situational awareness, then they would all just go home. She had no one to shoot with, and she was
And
like, "This is boring. There's not like a really cool, fun. Like, they should do shooting and then margaritas after."
and there's groups that do that. So
See,
maybe it's finding the right group.
or maybe she
Um,
should start that group.
Maybe it's starting that. Maybe it's, hey, do you have some friends who shoot, getting together with their partners and being like, hey, what can we do to let our ladies have a girls' night out? And maybe be like, hey, one of your girls' nights out, why don't you go to the range?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
it doesn't
love it.
have
I
to
try
be
and
that.
kick her out of the house at least once every other month. Just get out, do something.
Yep. And
I don't
support,
wanna know about it.
and if it's not guns, that's fine. That's just a good thing to do, right? Kick her out of the house every couple of
Well,
weeks,
she
every
used
couple
to
of
go to
months.
this. I used to set her up every year in, there's a place called Whiskey River. They do a fireman calendar where they all come in and dance and all that. So I'd give her
Nice.
$100 in ones and be like, "Look, I don't wanna know. Just go with your sister, have a good time." And I think her sister was actually pulled off a couple tables, but whatever. Whatever happens, happens. It's like Vegas. I don't wanna know.
That sounds super fun, actually. Like, where
Yeah,
is this around here? I need to go find one. I think I
right?
saw
She
somebody said
always
he's up
came
in
back in a good
Allentown.
mood. She came back in a good mood. I wasn't complaining. It was great.
Yeah, and
So,
that's how you get people into guns too. It's not just your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter or whatever. It's like, make it easy, make it fun, get rid of the barriers, and don't push. If it's not going to be their thing, it's not going to be their thing.
right. My wife hates guns. Oh, Jesus, man. I'm sorry. You just
Yeah, that
maybe bribe her. Do
I,
dishes. I mean, do something.
I think one of the things to remember when we're in relationships with people who don't like guns and we like guns is at a minimum we might want to ask, hey, can we can I teach you or can I bring you to someone who can teach you the safety piece? I'm
Right.
not going to ask for any, I'm not going to ask you to like them. I'm not going to ask you to enjoy it, but I'd like you to learn how to be safe around them and so that we could sit down and talk together about what makes you feel okay about having them in the house.
That's see, everyone, I hope you're writing all this down. Take notes. That is brilliant. That's that's good.
Yeah,
That is
my
really
friend
good.
Brooke Cheney up at I'm trying to remember what her gun school is called up in Connecticut will do, sort of these really low pressure class that's essentially there's a gun in your house now what, right?
Right.
And you don't they don't have to like them, but it's just like anything else dangerous in the house or anything else complicated in the house. You should probably know how to be safe around it, to yeah, that's tough. She won't even touch a gun. So it's like, okay, that's cool. Then maybe it's, well, what do I need to do to make this work? If you've got kids, what do we need to do to make sure everybody's safe around it? I love the Eddie Eagle curriculum from NRA. It's one of the things they've done really
Right.
right. The stop, don't touch, leave the area, tell an adult.
Yeah.
Sort
She
of.
won't even touch a gun. Honestly, Jesus, if I was in that spot, I would not bribe her, but I would say, look, you just got to go learn how to be safe around it, and I will wash dishes. I'll clean the whole house. Just you'll take care of everything. Give her that free time. I
Yeah.
liked it. I like that whole just be safe around it. Learn how to use it and be safe.
Yeah,
Because what
just
if
learn how
I'm
to
not
use
home
it.
and someone's breaking in?
Or even it's just, hey, they're in the house. I want you to feel like they're not going to jump out and scare you, right? Just learn the basics of it just in case, and then you never have to touch one again. It's okay.
Right. Oh, Randy Adams in the chat. Huge channel supporter. I love Randy very much. Great guy. Don't apologize for being late. We're just gossiping. So let me ask you a question. Going back to so tell me about your first time you've ever shot a gun. Do you remember that experience?
I do because I was 25 years old. I got to guns super super late in
Wait, wait,
life.
wait. So it was like last year.
I mean, maybe 2 years ago.
All right.
A little bit more than that. Yeah, I was 25 years old, and it was like I mentioned, my now ex and I went to the range, and it's kind of like blind leading the blind, renting some stuff from the local range, and
Oh, he wasn't a shooter either.
he had shot in high school.
Okay.
Oddly enough, he had been on his high school rifle team, so he'd shot 3, 4 position small bore, and this was kind of like his first experience with handguns had been a couple of weeks before, and we went to the range, and it was kind of scary. Like we didn't really know what we were doing, and we were just kind of like at ye old commercial indoor range, just like throwing lead at paper. Taught by the state of YouTube at the time, which in the mid 2000s was not nearly as good as today.
Right.
And yeah, it was a thing. It was kind of scary, kind of exhilarating. I wasn't even sure that it was going to be a thing for me. It was literally, I want to learn this skill. I want to say that I've done it. I want to know how to do it. And then I fell in love.
Nice.
Then I fell in love.
So you weren't
And
raised around guns. Did your family shoot at all?
I was raised in a relatively rural area. Nobody in my family shoots. I have a sister who had learned how to shoot a gun, and sort of the once every blue moon might go to the range with her buddies kind of thing, but not any sort of seriousness. My parents don't shoot. In fact, I taught them how to shoot a number of years back.
How was
There were
that?
people in my cohort. The first day of deer season was kind of light at school. There were definitely kids who were out hunting. I knew hunters, but I'd been to a summer camp that had a rifle program that I'd never
Mhm.
participated in. So I wouldn't say I grew up in a gun unfriendly environment, but it wasn't an environment that
Right.
I personally was involved in.
God, I can't. I remember teaching my mom how to use a cell phone. I couldn't imagine trying to teach her how to use a gun. Holy smokes! I don't know if I want her using a gun.
I think I wrote an article about this one. And now I got to look real quick and see if I can find it. Oh, yes, I did. And I wrote it for Gat Dally way back in the day. This is back when the Shield EZ first came out.
Oh, that's a
And we
great
had
gun,
a
though.
and we had a lot of hopes about how it might be a good gun for certain circumstances. And I think under those limited circumstances, it's still a great choice. I'm going to drop this in the private chat and you can share it with folks.
Sure.
And it was the gun that I taught my mother how to shoot with.
Really?
So she has arthritic hands, as you know, a lot of older women do. So this was a good choice for that, at least for the learning how to shoot. It'd be interesting to see, a couple years down the road how that might work out, or under stress, or things like that. We've noticed some issues with the EZ over the years, where that that grip safety doesn't actuate correctly for some people with weak hands. But
Right.
great choice. That was kind of my first time hands-on with that gun really seriously at all, and take my mother to the range and teaching her how to shoot.
So how long did you shoot before you actually took lessons?
I probably took my first class within a year or two of learning how to shoot. I
Oh,
did
so
this.
you got hooked right away.
Yeah, I probably did it about the wrong way. Is I went and got an NRA basic pistol instructor super early on in my shooting career, and learned very, very quickly that did not actually make me a real instructor. It gave me a piece of paper that said instructor on it and completely did not prepare me for teaching people how to shoot. Like it's a serious business. I screw up, somebody gets hurt, somebody dies. Like it's scary to teach.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I started. I got very lucky. My basic pistol, I also have an NRA PPITH and PPOTH, the personal protection inside and outside the home instructor certifications. And my training counselors for those were very, very good shooters, but more importantly, they were very good students. So they were able to kind of point me in good directions for additional training. I had access to a lot of, for the time, very innovative concepts on the range. I was shooting with a shot timer in a defensive pistol class in like 2008.
Oh, wow. I've only taken 2 pistol classes, but I shoot a lot. Because I do gun reviews, but I'm actually a pretty decent shot, but I'm trying to get Mickey carry trainer to do a class down here. I'm trying to set that up.
Great.
We're so close. And he actually did a whole video on certificates don't make you a good teacher. And that guy, God, I am such a fan of his content. He's so funny. His sarcasm is so fast, and his sense of humor, it's hilarious. I love his sign off where he's like, go out there, be good, don't be a dick, have a good time. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think that training is such a great way to kind of accelerate where you're at. You can go stand in a knee-deep pile of brass and pick up some stuff that will make you a better shooter. Or you can go to class, shoot, 400, 500, 600 rounds over the weekend and go leaps and bounds above that, as long as you're doing it with a good instructor.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I learned so much just from the 2 hours we were at that event. I was trying to eavesdrop on everybody. I was so out of my element.
Some of us were shooting nerds, so that happens too. That's kind of the real area that I'm a super nerd about is technical shooting skills. So that's actually why the book. Did you know I wrote a book?
No, let's plug it.
So I wrote a book a couple years back called The Dry Fire Primer. And it is a short little read. I think it's less than 100 pages about how to dry fire so you actually get better.
Really? Is this on Amazon? Can we buy it?
Yes, you can buy it on Amazon. And you can also get it. You can get a signed copy from me at Gun Goddess.
Gun Goddess. I want a signed copy.
Yes, Gun Goddess does signed copies. Or you can get it off Amazon. I think Gray Guns might also be carrying it at the moment. Concealedcarry.com also carries it.
So is Gun Goddess your website too?
No, gun goddess is Athena Means. I've known her for a long time now.
Oh, look at this shop. All right, I got to go on here and look around because I buy my wife all kinds of stuff. You know,
It's a great site for, small gifts and
I love it.
little
I
fun
love it.
gun things.
She carries on body quite a bit. You know, unless she's at work, then it's in her purse because they frown on that. But she carries quite a bit now, and she shoots. But man, I wish she. I've taken since I started shooting about 20 years ago. I've taken about 70 people shooting one time, and then I tell them, "Did you have a good time? Yeah. Did you have fun? Great. Go get training. You're not going
Yep.
to show me how to shoot? No. Point it in a safe direction. Pull the trigger a couple times. We'll run through a few magazines. Go get training because I'm not the one. I'm not a trainer. I get frustrated pretty easy. No, you had a good time. My whole job taking a new person shooting is just to make sure they have the most fun possible, and then give them to someone else.
And there's so much value in that. When we talk about how do we grow the gun community, how do we be ambassadors, it's if we can take somebody out to have a fun and safe time and just kind of
Right,
like whet the appetite,
100%.
make them get excited about that, make them figure out that this is something that's enjoyable, it's something that's accessible, and then we go and hi, man, and then we go and send them off to somebody who can teach them, more. One of the classes, by the way, that your wife might like, and some other folks who are like, well, I'm not really sure what I want to do for concealed carry, is there's a class by Citizens Defense Research called the Armed Parent/Guardian.
Ooh,
And it's a really great class. It's 2.5 days. It's taught by my very dear friends, John Johnston and Melody Lauer. It includes shooting, it includes some other exercises, but it's not just for people with kids. It's called the Armed Parent Guardian. I've taken it a couple times, and I'm like, it's for anybody who spends any time around people who aren't armed that they care
mhm.
about. I mean,
Nice. I've
after
never
all,
taken so many notes on a live stream.
I do my best. It's actually one of my favorite classes in the industry, along with oh wow, I'm gonna have a brain fart, with John Murphy's street encounter skills.
Oh, okay, nice.
So those two classes, I think, will give you a lot of tools and a lot of skills that are applicable to like everyday normal person self-defense, everyday normal person concealed carry.
Right.
And I think that that's, for some folks who are like, well, I don't know if I like guns, but I have them around, or I carry a gun. What should I know? I'm like, well, those will give you a pretty good base. And you can like take those classes or take one of those classes and probably never take another class again and be okay.
Right.
But they're
I've been
fun.
just this last year, I've had tons of people reach out to me that I had no idea would even be interested in shooting. And they're like, hey, what should I go get? I want to go get even my friends from California, because I'm a California refugee. I'm from Los Angeles and I
Mhm.
moved to Texas 12 years ago. But I have a lot of friends out there calling me and sending me IG messages like, what do I get? I'm like, I tell you what, go on Groupon, go get a coupon for a gun range out there, go rent 4 or 5 different guns, or go with someone that has a bunch of guns, shoot a whole bunch of guns, see what fits you. Because guns for me, I tell everyone that they're like shoes. What fits you isn't going to fit the guy next to you or girl next to you. And if you really like guns, they're very much like shoes, because then you're going to have 47 pair, you're going to have a ton of different guns. And then eventually you'll develop that big giant box of holsters that you don't use anymore. I mean, there's so much thing you're going to collect as a gun owner. AR spare part bin. I have a huge one of those. You're going to have all kinds of random gun stuff.
That is so true.
I
I
got
will
like
say,
30 slings and
I,
I have so many slings.
I will say that one of the hard parts as a new shooter, everybody's like, well, buy a gun that's comfortable to you, and you have no idea what's actually comfortable. So one of the things I like to tell people is buy. It used to be the M and Glock 320. There's a couple of more guns that kind of fit into that polymer Wonder 9 sort of category now. So the Glock 17 or 19, the M&P 9, the Shield Plus is kind of in the same area now. The 320, one of its 8 million variations of it. everybody's got, Beretta's got the APX, FN has the 509, but sort of one of those things, as long as it's, thank you, as long as it's serviceable, reasonable quality, you can get holsters and other accessories for it. Get that, learn how to shoot, get comfortable as you can with that, and then figure out if that's what you want to stick with, or if you get something that's super common and easy to resell, go switch it out for something when you know a little bit more about what to pick.
Yeah, I bought, what was the first holster? I had a XDM 9mm, and I bought 10 different holsters for it. Inside the waistband, outside the waistband. I got a bunch on Amazon. I got 2 on eBay, and then I bought this one called a sticky holster.
Oh dear.
And I love that sticky holster. I've been using it. Listen, hear me out. I've been using that holster for 10 years. It is so comfortable. It doesn't move around. It's in and out 2 seconds. There's no clips. So I've been using it 10 years. I've never had anything. It covers the whole trigger. A lot of people, it collapses when you take it out. Like, look, you're not supposed to try and reholster it, right? You take it out, put the gun back, and you put it back in your hip. And look, I know you're shaking, but I'm a sticky holster fanatic. Am I wearing my shirt? No, I'm not wearing my sticky holster shirt. I'm an ambassador.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Have you ever owned one?
Yes, I have.
Have you used it?
Yes, I have.
More than a day?
There are so many problems with the sticky holsters.
What?
They really, really are. They don't have good retention. They don't have good retention to you. They don't have good retention to the gun. And I can find other holsters, other carry systems that are as convenient, as comfortable, but safer and more reliable.
That's a bold statement there, Annette.
Let me introduce you to my friends, Filster. Their YouTube channel is Philly EDC, back from the old days of John's early Kydex bending. And they have
tons of different holsters.
But here's the thing. It's not about the product. You have to understand how concealment and comfort work.
That sticky holster is so comfortable. I forget it's on most of the time.
So they actually just released an amazing video about comfortable concealed carry and how to make concealed carry comfortable for you, not because of the material of the holster, but because that holster is actually going to fit you and your body.
I tell you what, I will, with an open mind, go in any direction you want. Because heck, who doesn't want an excuse to buy another holster? I'll do it. I don't give a shit. I love it.
So
you tell me what to buy, I'm gonna buy it.
All right.
I carry a XDM Elite in 9mm.
XDM Elite in 9mm. So what I would suggest is going probably JM Custom Kydex is going to be your best bet. Where do you carry? Appendix on your hip?
I'm a little husky, so appendix is really not in the cards.
I mean, it could be done. I could probably get you comfortable in appendix even.
See, so here's why. Let me tell you why I like the sticky holster. Because it fits. When I sit down, I can move it down my belt waist. When I stand up, I can move it to appendix real easy. If I'm somewhere and I got to just throw it under the seat in the car, it pops right out. There's no clips. I don't have to worry about it snagging on anything. I've practiced drawing with it countless times.
So if we get
10 years, and it's never fallen out. It's never gotten loose.
Never gotten a fight in it?
I've rolled around with the kids with it.
I mean, so there are exceptions to every rule about like how well something stays in place. But overall, your odds of that holster working, the numbers are against you at this point.
All right. Like I have like 5 different crossbreed holsters, but okay, let's go.
No, we can do better than that. We can do better. So
that's a bull. They watch the channel. Hold on. I love crossbreed holsters, by the way.
We can do better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you to Filster's YouTube channel, which is Philly EDC. And there's gonna be, there's a ton of videos for you to watch there, but one of them is the comfortable concealed carry video that just came out a week and a half ago.
All right. Here, let's look at it.
And there are exceptions. Not everybody can carry appendix, but we can actually get it working for most people, most body types. I do carry in an Enigma now, although I also carry in belt-mounted holsters. with clips that are very easy to take on and off. They're not a big hassle. And yes, different body types do prefer different holsters, but probably less than you think.
Okay, Nutty says he's holster poor.
Yeah.
Too many choices. My oddly shaped body keeps the retention. Well, my sticky holster's in, man. That thing is not moving. You just can't throw it in with sweatpants. You got to wear a belt, but you don't have to clip it to the belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you want that holster that's anchored to your body or to your clothing in some way, because of all the things that can go wrong when that holster detaches itself from you.
All right, now look, I have a blue dumb gun.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna put it in that sticky, and I'm gonna not well. You can look at me. I'm not doing somersaults, but I'm gonna go out there and try and do like roll around and see if I can get it to pop out. I can't. Like when it's in, it's in.
I can't speak to your personal experience, but I can tell
I
you that
want the
from
whole
what I've
CCW
seen,
safe event.
what I've seen about sticky holsters in general is that it's going to fail at some point.
Well, because you have a lot of people that go out there and they hold it upside down loosely because it's
That's not
not
really
how
a test.
they shake it. Oh, it falls out of the holster.
That's not really a test. So the tip test is, it made sense for certain things, but it doesn't make sense once we realize that all the retention isn't coming from the holster itself. So you're right in that the waistband will help with that, and it does make a difference. But sticky holes, because they're not specific for your gun, and because they're not attached to you or your clothing, there's so many better choices out there that we can make just as comfortable for you. You also find that you need to shift your gun around a lot less when we have the holster set up properly for you and your body and how you wear it.
Because if I'm driving, I like to shift it 2 inches, to the side, sit down, buckle in. And when I stand up, I can shift it closer to the front. And it only takes a second. I don't have to worry about clips. I can pop it out, pop it in. It's never failed. It's never fallen out.
But what if I told you don't need to do that to be comfortable and to be able to get to your gun? That you should leave it where it is.
Okay, I'll try anything. I got a whole barrel full of holsters. He says he can't carry appendix. He's too small. Yeah, I wish I had that choice. Yeah. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm too small.
So armed and styled makes me look like a monster. And you've met me, so you know I'm not a large woman. Armed and styled Tessa makes me look like a monster, and she carries appendix.
Well, I think with girls too. I mean, you can dress certain ways that can cover it up.
I mean, she's armed and styled, so she's not exactly wearing baggy clothing to cover up her gun.
Randy Adams says Annette is the gun holster guru. Listen. All right, I'm listening, Randy.
I've been very fortunate. I am very good friends with the owners over at Philster. I was actually in their wedding. So when people ask me, what kind of buys do you have? Well, I'm close enough that I was in their wedding. But I've learned so much from John and Sarah over the years about ways to be comfortable with concealed carry, ways to conceal. I can carry a Glock 19 easily. I mean, there's a little bit of work involved because it's it's like about 65% of my hip to hip measurement. So it's work, but I can carry a Glock 19. I carry Glock 48 with a dot on it.
Like when I bought this, when I got this CZ TS2, they're like, oh, it's too heavy. You'll never be able to conceal carry. I'm like, don't tell me not to do something, because now I'm going to find a way to do it. Because it shoots so good. It shoots so good. I'm like, don't say not to do something. I will do it. That's how you get me to do something. Like if my wife ever figured out, don't you do dishes tomorrow? Don't tell me what to do. I'm doing these dishes.
Shit. Don't you carry appendix?
Look, I can barely see my toes on a good day.
That's okay.
Rough. It's rough.
That's okay. We've got it working. If you go to the Philster Concealment Workshop group on Facebook, they've got a whole bunch of guides. They use the guides feature in the group. And one of them is about appendix carry for bigger folks.
Okay. All right. I'm convinced. I'm going to try it. I'm team Annette all the way.
Do you remember Spencer, who you met along with me?
Yes.
Spencer carries appendix.
All right. Okay.
It's possible. It does require. So here's the thing: concealed carry is a skill, as Sarah likes to say. Sarah Hotman at Hillster. Concealed carry is a skill, and we don't necessarily learn that when we decide to start carrying a gun. We just get presented with all these holsters to buy and say, well, put your gun in a holster, stick it on your body somewhere, or maybe stick your gun in a purse, and therefore, go forth and conceal carry. And we might take classes that teach us how to draw out of the holster, but we don't learn how to conceal a gun and how to carry it comfortably. But there are principles and there are rules and there are skills involved in that. And one of the great things that Filster is doing is showing us what those are in a pretty brand agnostic way.
All right. I'm all over it. I'm all over it. Like me on a cupcake. I'm going to get to it. So Jay Curry says, I generally carry strong side, but I have carried appendix more recently. 270. Oh, we're the same weight. Plenty of tactical girth as well. So I have tactical girth. Okay. So it's
It just
Randy
means
says
more stuff around your waist. I can't carry as much stuff because I just don't have any room.
You know what? I'm thinking about getting a leather holster made IWB for this CZTS2, just because they said I can't do it. Like, you'll never carry that because it weighs 37 pounds. It's heavy. Like, it's really heavy. But I'm going to get a holster made for it.
So if you're willing to wait, my very, very favorite leather holsters are made by Milt Sparks.
Sparks?
Milt, M-I-L-T.
Look, more notes. More notes.
They make some. They're in Idaho. Their lead time is like 6 months, but they are so worth it. Some of the most gorgeous.
There's a gentleman out here that hand makes the belts, and he just does it as a pastime. They are sweet. 2 weeks. Takes about 2 weeks. But have you ever seen someone's hands that hand stitches leather? Gnarly.
Very, very, very
gnarly.
Yeah. I had
Jessica Barnes says, I appendix carry and compared to Annette body type, I mean a lot fluffier, curvier with the Enigma. Okay, I'm sold. All right. I'm all about it.
We'll get you there. I promise.
I don't think I can conceal carry my X5 Legion. Yes, you can. I love that gun.
There are some actual physical size limits about what people can carry, but most of it is proportional to you. Right. So, yes, smaller people are going to have a harder time with bigger guns. My 19 or my 48 is proportionally as large as a 34 on a more average size man.
Yeah, that's why I love when it gets cold, because sweater weather, I'm all about it. I love it. I love sweater weather.
It makes life so much easier. I mean, we can do it without, but it does make life a lot easier.
Oh, Jessica, she carries a 365 with a 507K. Man, that's a nice setup. That's a great self-defense setup. I wasn't a big 365 person until I shot one. And then I'm like, okay, all right. I shot one for about a couple days. I'm like, man, I really like this gun a lot.
Yeah, they're great guns. I actually just switched out my 365. So Beretta asked me to help them launch a new gun, the APX A1 Carry. And so they handed me one, and they gave me one to help do, material for it, some content for it, things like that. And I started shooting it. I started playing with it, and like, guess I'm carrying a new gun now because I actually really like it. Yeah, surprised me too.
Wow. Because 365, I mean, that's a leader. Like the new Hellcat Pro, that's my summer gun because it's like the XDM Elite. I'm a big Springfield whore, just be honest, and I really like that gun quite a bit. So I carry that in the summertime. So it's compact. It shoots really, really good. Let's see.
I saw that comment about sitting in appendix carry, driving an appendix carry. A lot of that has to do with how that holster is set up for you. So again, I'm just going to point everybody to Filster and their materials.
Yeah,
we can make it work. I've driven 10, 12 hours with a Glock 19 appendix before.
Okay, I'm going to try it. Like, look, I would love the appendix carry, but usually it's just not in the cards. Oh, C6 Ladez, my good friend.
Hi.
Too many choices, but hello, Jessica. Well, yeah. My Glock 23 is about as large frame as I can carry in summertime. It's not bad.
Yeah, I think Tessa at Armed and Styled has done some work. She works for Filster now too, and they have a video that came out recently, about 3 weeks ago, called "Your Gun is Too Big for Your Concealment Sweet Spot," and that kind of talks about some of the limits in terms of guns' relative size to your body and where they are. It's both larger and smaller than most people think on what they can carry.
Right. Rare groove roller. I started with an alien gear and tried a sticky because of me. Thank you. And haven't rocked anything else since. Nothing more convenient. So let me tell you, I think a sticky holster is key. Like if I'm going to go somewhere all day, I'm going to wear a leather belt. I'm going to wear a leather getup. But if I'm going to the grocery store, if I'm going to go to UPS, if I'm going to go somewhere maybe an hour or two, I'll put the sticky ink just because it's so dang convenient. And I've gotten a lot of people that always, oh, I forget, or they don't want to hassle with a belt. They don't want to hassle with that. A sticky is, if I just want them to carry on body.
Yeah, my concern with the stickies is how long is that gun going to stay on body? And there's some variation there on how well it works for different individuals, especially once you get out of the warm climates.
I'm in Houston.
Yes, you're in Houston, but what about somebody who's in Alaska?
You know what? Look, here's what I'm going to do. Annette, here's what I'm going to do. Just for you and for everyone, my next video, I'm going to do a sticky holster test. And I'm going to do like 50 jumping jacks with my fat ass out there. I'm going to go into a refrigerated warehouse. I have access to a refrigerated warehouse in Houston. I'm going to, and it stays 30 degrees nonstop. So I'm going to, oh God, that's going to suck. So I'm going to do jumping jacks. I'm going to do the hula hoop, whatever. And I'm going to do a sticky holster test and I'm going to try and get it to fall out just to see. Because now you got me curious because that's a good point. What if you are in Alaska?
The other thing I'm going to suggest too, and I'm trying to find this video now, Armed and Styled did a video about how the sticky holster has some potential issues.
Jay Curry, I'm going to get a holster made for Desert Eagle concealed carry. You do it, Jay. Do that and send me a picture because I want to see.
I mean, I know a dude who can pocket carry a Glock 17.
Oh God, that's ridiculous. That's a little big. I don't like pocket carry.
He's large. Well, he doesn't carry. He doesn't do that, but he's that large.
Holy smokes. Cash EDC, what's going on, buddy? We're having a debate on, you know what's so funny, Annette, when you came on, I think, oh, we're going to talk all this women stuff. Now we're debating sticky holsters for 20 minutes, and you're converting me to try another system.
And there's also, if you wanted, the Enigma is great because it fits, you can wear it under anything, right? So, you know, I don't wear real pants anymore because I can carry a real gun in a real holster in an Enigma. But there's also some really great clip systems now, like the GCC clips do a wonderful job, and they're easy to take on and off, and they're very, very secure. So options abound now. And that's one of the things I've kind of noticed over the last few years is there's just so much more out there.
Rob says, I like sticky holsters. There's a pretty good fan base.
There is, but we could do better.
Oh, okay. I'm going to post that vid. I'm going to be out there jazzercising my fat ass across the street. Actually, that's probably going to be one of the, I bet you I get 1 billion views on that video.
Have you seen my flashbang video?
Mm-mm.
So I did I do a series for In Range TV where I take a look at sort of the products and techniques and things that are sold to women for self-defense.
It's probably a lot of garbage.
There's a ton of garbage out there. But the flashbang brow holster.
Oh, I did see that.
Yes.
I did see that.
Flashbang brow holster is one of them. And you'll note what I did, some of the stuff that I did to make sure that thing stayed put, which included rolling around in the dirt, fighting people. I'm just saying.
So look, I am a bad influence on my subscribers, and sticky holsters is one, I guess. And then the other one is I grew up relatively broke. And so my dad, gave us peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches for like lunch. And I ate one yesterday. I think I can eat one every single day. So look,
I'm
had
down with
you?
the peanut butter in a sandwich. I'm down with mayonnaise on a sandwich. I've just never.
It's amazing with some salty chips like Ruffles. But look, you don't put gobs of peanut butter. You don't put gobs of mayonnaise. You just put a nice. I use Miracle Whip. You put a nice thin layer, a nice thin layer. You put it together in some soft bread, and it is the salt of the sweetness. Ah, so good. And I eat it to this day. I still eat it. My kids eat it. Everyone grosses out, but one out of two people that try it end up eating it because it was, we grew up poor, so it was cheap. We had the county peanut butter we'd mix with water to try and make it softer, and they gave out free bread. I don't know, man.
I take your word for it. It's just a strange. You got to understand. When I was growing up, I didn't even like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Oh, I love those.
I love peanut butter now. Like I'll go and just like put a big spoonful, like a double spoonful of peanut butter on a little plate and just like eat that for a snack. So I just never thought about mayonnaise with it.
Sean says I have a couple sticky holsters, and after a few hours they release.
Yeah, that's one thing that we see happen quite a bit.
Release? What do you mean release?
They stop sticking to your body or to your clothes. They just kind of.
I'm 10 years into 7 or 8 different ones. I've never had them release.
Part of that is you live in Houston.
Well, you got to have a belt on too. It's a tension holster, so you can't just have it loosey goosey, right? So what I do is I just stick it, as long as it's some kind of grip, as long as there's some kind of pressure, it works all day long. Like you just can't throw it in sweatpants. That's not what they're designed for. They're
I mean,
designed for tension.
it probably is better with the tension.
So it has to have
But
tension.
yeah, but even so, it's still.
Poor gun, guys. Sticky equals $40. Enigma is 150. Oh shit, it's $150.
So the Enigma is not just a holster; it is a whole. It's a thing that attaches to a holster body, which
All
is
right.
why it gets expensive. It's like buying a belt and then a holster, and some of the other accessories that make your belt and your holster work well together. However, in that $40 to $60 range, there's some other options out there that are fantastic. Yeah, what Joe's comment, that happens too.
Again, in hot Houston humid weather where you think it would be sticky, I've pulled it and I've trained like crazy with that sticky holster. Never a
So,
problem. And I'm
how many classes have
5'10",
you taken?
270.
How many classes have you
Very
taken?
lots of tactical girth for that thing to stick to. So far, so good. But now I really gotta. I'm gonna do like an AK test with this thing. I'm gonna throw mud all over it. I mean, what can I do? Absolute Misty. I love my sticky holster for backpack purse. For my backpack purse. Oh, that's nice. It's a southern thing. Annette, my grandma does peanut butter, mayo, and banana. Oh, shucks. I never thought about a banana.
And now you're going to have to do it.
CNT Designs, no way in hell. I don't know. I'm trying to catch up. I mean, I've said 25 things. He could be saying that too.
I'll say this for overall, because there's a lot of questions I'm seeing about gear and things like that, is Filster Concealment Workshop is a great place to go and get some learning. It is fairly tightly moderated, so you'll want to read along and do some searching, read the guides. There's a huge wealth of knowledge there about what gear works and why.
So don't ask a question because you're going to get 30 comments. Why don't you research first before you ask a stupid question?
Actually, they won't approve your post. And as a participant there, I really appreciate that, because it means that when you go in and read to get information, you're not stuck with 500 posts about what holster should I buy for my Glock 19.
Oh, yeah. Jay Curry says, y'all need to try peanut butter, bacon, and mayo. You know what? I'll try it.
That reminds me of a really great burger I had once in College Station.
Yeah, I had a burger like that once.
It was like peanut butter, bacon, pickles on a burger. It was really good. I don't understand it either.
I'll try anything.
You're like, I didn't get this tactical girth for nothing. I don't eat
Right?
leftovers for nothing. I don't
Right.
work out like I do to not eat what I want.
Well, I did the carnivore thing for a little bit, and that worked out fantastic. So I'm doing 2 months on, 2 months off, and I'm going to start in another week, 2 months on, and see. Because the first time I did, I went from 320 pounds to 280. I lost 40 pounds in 2 months,
Awesome.
and I've been maintaining it.
Awesome.
280. I've been solid 280. I think 281, and it's almost 2 months. So now I know once I get off it and don't eat like a freaking lunatic, I can maintain it. So
That's awesome.
let's see who else is in the chat. South Louisiana. Phil Stern is a great resource. Scientific approach to carry. All right. All right. All right. Well, I tell you what, I am learning a lot today. I've never taken so many freaking notes in my life during a live. But
There's a reason that posts it on her own are so long is because I have a lot to say. But I
no, I
try to make
love
all
it.
the words worth it.
Because the last person I had on the live, she's just starting out. She does Instagram, no YouTube, and she's so sweet and she's a chatty Cathy. But when the camera was on, she was like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, look, it's just like you're talking to I don't know, random people.
I love doing these.
Yeah, they're great. Oh, don't tell me that. It'll be a monthly. Because heck, we haven't even got half things. Let's see. If you could fry a bun, it would be even better.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Get a little toasty.
Minerva, Annette knows all the things. She does. I'm
She's only
convinced
saying that to
now.
be nice to me. I know Minerva in real life. She's saying that to be nice to me.
I believe it. All right, so let's go here. Real quick, guys, I'm going to put a link to Annette's YouTube channel. She's just got 10 new subscribers during this chat. Let's see if we can get her up
Thank you guys.
a little bit more. We need to get her past 200. So everyone, please open a window. There's 50 people in the chat, 60 people in the chat. Everyone, please open a window and subscribe to Annette's channel. She's going to post tons of new content starting next month
I guess I have to now. Thanks.
about how sticky holsters are horrible. Actually, it's funny. They reached out to me, and I know the guy Eric at Sticky Holsters now. We're like best buddies. And I was like, man, I just love. I got so many of them. I give them out at my events. They're just great. But I'm gonna try this other one.
We'll get you. We'll get you. We'll get you somewhere. I think we can surprise you with the modern state of concealed carry.
You know what?
So here's the thing. 10 years ago, I carried in a Milt Sparks holster behind the hip on a gun belt, like a lot of people did, and it worked great. And John Hopman at Philster looks at me and goes, we can do this. We can carry a bigger gun more comfortably. And I looked at him and said, there's no fucking way, John. You're brilliant. You make me beautiful Kydex, but there's no fucking way. Then I carried a Glock 19. And then I carried a Glock 48 with a dot. And they've been comfortable and secure. And
I'm sold. $150 is not a.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be all the way up to the Enigma, right? You can do.
No, man, go big or go home.
If you want to do that, we can make that work. But if not, there's other options out there too.
Yeah. How fast can you put on an Enigma?
It's super quick. So
Okay,
the
that's my
Enigma,
thing. Like I just want to be able to throw something on and go.
that's pretty much what I do. One of the reasons I love it is because everything's all set up and ready to go. All I have to do is put it around my waist and clip the leg leash.
All right. I'm sold. Minerva says, I love Annette dearly, but she's also brilliant. Oh, I thought she was going to say she's also a pain in the butt or something funny.
I mean, there are moments.
Too many choices just subbed. Okay, what are you up to now? We are at 194. Oh, we're so close. Let's get to 200 at least. Come on, guys.
You guys are awesome.
Everything is better fried. You know what?
It's true.
That's true.
It's true.
They could just fry a sticky holster. No, I'm kidding.
The other thing, guys, if you want to follow me for more regular content, because I'm terrible at video, is on Facebook on her own. And actually, if you go to my website, which is onherown.life, you'll
You
get
just
links to
posted a
all of my
link for it.
social. Yeah, you'll get links to all of my social.
Yes.
I think I don't have Twitter on there yet, but that's not the most important one.
You know what's funny? Twitter, I was banned on Twitter for doing nothing. I don't know, remember. It was during the elections. I would go on once in a while just to see what Trump was saying because he is hilarious. But I didn't post anything. I wasn't reposting. And then I tried to go on like a year ago and my account was deleted. I
That's
was like,
super weird.
okay, cool. But it was kind of boring. And then the whole Elon Musk thing, I'm like, okay, now I want to see what Elon's tweeting. Because I had no idea that guy was funny too. He's pretty funny. So
He's a
now I'm
little
back
crazy.
on Twitter also, just trolling. Who
Yeah,
was arguing with me the other day? I had who played Captain America? Chris Evans.
Chris Pratt.
No, Chris Evans.
Chris
Captain
Evans?
America. Chris Pratt, I think, was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
So
you're probably right.
Captain America has nothing better to do than argue with a nobody from Texas. So I posted a couple comments. He's going back and forth, and I said, "Hey, aren't you like a millionaire? Don't you have better things to do than argue with some guy in Houston, Texas? I mean, get a life." And then I blocked him.
Oh.
How do you like it, celebrity? Too many
Twitter's
trades.
where I go when I've got a little bit of time on my hands, and I'll poke around a little bit and then walk away, probably in the middle of a conversation or an exchange, and go do the rest of my life.
Yeah. Jay Cree said, I had a fried Oreo about a year ago. It was amazing. You know what's amazing? If you freeze a Snickers, roll it in the dough, and then deep fry a Snickers. Holy moly.
And here all along, I've just been sticking with my funnel cakes.
You gotta freeze the Snickers first, or it'll melt and it's gross. But if you freeze it, and it also works at Reese's peanut butter cups, but that's exactly why I got up to 320. So I don't recommend it.
I've got a deep fryer, and I know we have Reese's in the house.
Don't do it. It's so good.
You're not helping.
Jose's a sucker for funnel cakes. Everybody is. Man against the masses. What's the count? All right, let's see the count.
We're at 199.
Oh my gosh, we need one more person to get her over the 200 mark. Come on. Come on, guys. Let's go. Hustle up, buttercups. We're at 200. Now
Yes.
awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Texas State Fair has those smash time. I know it. They do. That's where I got the idea. Deep fried Oreos. The one I couldn't get into was the cheesecake. Ugh,
Oh, well.
I couldn't do it.
Come on.
I couldn't do it. So let's actually talk about more gun stuff here. So what gun did you buy? I ask a lot of people this question. What gun did you buy that you really wanted that was terrible? And you're like, I can't believe I bought this piece of junk. And you were so disappointed. What was your biggest disappointment?
Biggest disappointment. That's a really hard one because I've been very, very lucky as a shooter. I started as a shooter as a dual income, no kids couple. So I got to buy some really fun guns. And I've been fortunate through my work in the industry to have some really cool guns over time.
All right, let me rephrase the question. Out of all the guns in your safe, if one fell off a cliff, you wouldn't care about the most?
The 380 easy.
Okay, that's fair. All right, now let's do the opposite end. What gun did you buy that you wanted that just blew you away and exceeded your expectations? Like, holy shit, this is amazing.
So I'll be honest, I didn't buy this gun. This gun was part of my relationship with Gray Guns, but this 5-inch bull barrel that I'm shooting right now, Bruce told me it was going to be a great gun, and I believed him because he's built a couple of guns for me over the years.
Have you posted pictures of that on your?
I have.
You
They're
on video on this gun on your YouTube, Annette?
I guess I could probably do something like that, maybe.
Because I really want to see it.
So actually, I'm like, can I reach? It's too far across my office. There's pictures of it on my Instagram, I think.
Okay.
I'll put some stuff up about it. It's gorgeous, but man, can it shoot? I took it to Citizens Defense Research Tests and Standards last month, Yeah, it's still June. Last month, best shooting gun I've ever got shot in my
Wow.
life.
So everyone in the chat too, I'm curious, what is the best gun you've ever shot? For everyone in the chat, it's like Man Against the Masses, TMC, Josue. What gun blew you away? Because for me, it was like, my buddy Mike shoots a lot of great, amazing guns. And he handed me one the other day, and he has CZ Parrots. He has all the staccatos. He shoots a lot of stuff. He handed me the Masterpiece Arms double stack 1911, and he just blew me away. It was so on the money. I couldn't believe the group I was shooting with it. I mean, it is amazing. So I reached out to him, and they sent me one, and
So
I did. You do an unboxing video. No, I went straight to the gun range. I got it and went straight to the range and ran out of the house. Well, I picked it up and went straight to the range and shot the heck out of it. And it was so amazing.
the coolest thing about this 320 that I'm shooting like my competition range 320 now is the FCU in it is actually my original Team Sig FCU. So the trigger, the internals are all that. We've just kind of put all new clothes around it.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a
That
super
means a
cool
lot.
gun that way. And I was very, very lucky that I got a custom grip reduction on it because I have really small palms and long fingers. So it's hard for me to kind of get my hands around a gun. And while I could shoot pretty much anything, it's better when they fit. So like even my carry guns, I have my 19 to 48 are bore sight guns with grip reductions on them. And that though, oh man, you want to talk about guns that exceeded your expectations? Send a gun off to bore sight to get some work done and get it back, and it is phenomenal.
Bold statement. Bold statement. So Man Against the Masses says FSX Blackout.
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
Rare Groove Roller said Barrett M82A1. Yeah, that's great, man. That is such best gun ever. High Point. Everything else is just imitation. John Doe, very funny. Everyone knows high points are the best. We all know that already. I thought about bedazzling one the other day. I thought that'd be cool.
No, only if they come in like the $100 bill dip.
Right?
That dip finish with 100, that's pretty cool.
Randy Adams says the Ruger SR 1911 and 10 mil. Oh, I sold that gun to him and I mailed it to him. That's a
Through
great
an
gun.
FFL, of course.
Of course. Staccato
Staccatos
DP.
are nice. Yeah.
Staccatos are amazing guns. But I got to tell you, shooting that Masterpiece Arms next to an XL and the CZ Parrot, I like the Masterpiece. It's so good.
So one of the things that I have is I have some weird hand dimension issues where I can't shoot 1911s and 2011s without tearing up this knuckle on my thumb.
Really?
And Bruce, who also builds 1911s and 2011s, and some other folks, some other gunsmiths I know, we've got them batted it around back and forth, and we just can't reduce that dimension enough to allow me to shoot them.
Oh man, such a great gun.
Fortunately,
have you thought about maybe making the grip bigger in other places to take this pressure off?
They just can't get that shaved down enough because like I have to get my hand around the grip. Now, if I shot a SIG 210, which is also a single stack gun, then that works. So there are other options. They're just not 1911 pattern.
1911s have such good triggers though.
Oh, but we can build beautiful triggers in other guns, and B.
Well, I hope I run into you in real life at another event because I really want to see this gun you have. So definitely do a video on it.
All right. I probably want to go through some of my guns and do some videos anyways and show people what I've got these days for carry and then how that compares to what I shoot.
That's great content. My top 5 best guns for carry, my top 5 best guns overall. What gun I wouldn't care fell off a cliff. I'd click to watch that.
I haven't done a lot of gun content for On Her Own. It's On Her Own I like to say it's gun friendly. It's gun inclusive, but it's not all about the gun because guns aren't the end all and be all of self-defense.
Well, the cool thing too, Annette, is your channel is still relatively new, 200 subscribers. So you could do a different channel. pretty easy, and get 1,000 subs in a week, 2 weeks.
So before I was on her own, I was Beauty Behind the Blast.
Is that another YouTube channel?
Yes, that is Beauty Behind the Blast. And all it's got right now is like old match videos on there. I haven't put anything on there in probably like 4 years. But that's me shooting a lot of guns.
Oh, well, the cool thing about that, the algorithm will see an old channel come back to life and they'll push it like crazy. So if you had like 6 or 7 videos and put one out every other day, it would push your stuff to the moon.
Oh, but there's so much time I got to put into making video. That's what I hate about it.
Oh, boo-hoo-hoo.
I know. What I should do, I love this live, and I should just do them like that and not worry about my production values.
Lives are fantastic. I love doing them. I like just hanging out with the chat and seeing what people have. I have some of the best subscribers or friends. I don't call them subscribers. I just call them friends. I have some of the best friends that come and hang out with me on these lives. And I've never blocked one person.
Wow.
I just don't attract those kind of D-bags. I just have cool people.
That's awesome.
The Taurus TX22 competition. Have you shot one of those?
The TX22s I haven't. I have a bunch of friends who have who said they're super fun.
So the competition it comes with 3 magazines, 17 rounds, 22, and the slide cut, the optic mounts to the barrel of the gun. And it is so much fun to shoot. Like, I took my son shooting. I ended up, let me just try this mag again, buddy, and make sure it's working. And he's like, am I ever going to shoot? I'm like, yeah, just load this mag. He's really good at loading magazines now. But yeah, God, I had so much fun shooting that gun. It is a blast. Jay Curry says, I shot a friend of mine 6.5 Grendel AR pistol.
That's fun.
338 Lapua.
That's fun.
Yeah, those are nice.
I dropped a link in the private chat to my shooting channel from back in the day. It's
let's see this. Now
I don't shoot like this anymore, but
Oh, look at these action thumbnail shots. Oh, hold on.
It's back when I used to do match videos and tried to make them interesting to watch.
All right, so I'm gonna put a link to her other channel. Let's all comment on this one too. Let's all. Beauty Behind the Blast. That's a very catchy name. 401 subscribers.
Yeah. So Beauty Behind the Blast came from this idea that everything you do behind the muzzle of a pistol is what's important.
Very true.
So whether you're shooting for competition or for self-defense or whatever else, all the stuff behind that muzzle blast is what's important, what's interesting, and what's beautiful.
Are you wearing a purple tutu in this competition?
I did. I have, in fact, worn purple tutus to compete in, and butterfly wings.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been to a Ren fair?
No, and it's a point of contention in my house right now.
So Texas has the best Ren fair in the U.S. I feel, hands down. I've been to a bunch. And we're actually, oh God, this is going to destroy my street cred with everybody. I'm a closet Ren fair. Like, I dress up and do everything. I love it. I love it. I'll throw on the stupid accent. Quench thy thirst. It's great. It's great. Sorry, guys. I lost a lot of cool points there, man. Well, I had like 2 anyway. So
I think it's super cool.
I love going to the Ren fair. It is the best time. The food is good. Like, I make Scotch eggs now at home.
Ooh.
Super easy. Super easy. Great travel food. It's very good. Oh, look. Randy just subscribed. Now you have 402 subscribers.
Ooh.
Minerva says, it's fine. I'm a Renaissance scholar and haven't been to a proper Ren fair. So I grew up in the Ren fair.
You know who we can blame, right? She knows who I'm talking about.
So I grew up in the whole Ren fair era because I was the kid that would. So my sister back in California was a big Ren fair geek, and so I would, of course, go with her. So I was the kid after just 2 minutes of instruction could juggle, and if you bought his book, you could too. I did it twice a day. So you kicked me out of the crowd. I couldn't juggle. Then I could juggle. How about that? And I got to go for free and eat for free. I just part of the scam shtick.
Scam.
And, I learned how to juggle. It's great. Hidden talents, folks. Hidden talents. But
That's
yeah,
super cool.
Houston, Texas has one. It's so big. It's about the same size as Disneyland,
Wow.
and the buildings are not just little BS stages. They're all year round. It's it's an event. My sister and her friends from California fly out to go to this one because it's
Hmm.
so much fun and it's so geeky. I love it. I love it. Dress up as a pirate. Arr, I love it.
Have you ever heard of the Society for Creative Anachronism, SCA?
No.
So these are people who think the Ren Fair is like not geeky enough.
Oh, it's pretty geeky.
So the people who are members of the SCA will take on entire personas from some medieval period, and they have the clothes, and they have the names, and they have everything else, and they get together and they learn like period. They learn and they demonstrate period arts, including swords. They fight with each other with swords, and they have archery and stuff like that. And they'll have these enormous events. They have an event that's like 2.5 weeks long. That's just outside of Pittsburgh, called Penzic.
Now they don't also dress up at night in Star Wars outfits and have lightsaber battles.
That's a different group.
Oh,
There's
geez.
people who do that too.
Hey, I was a closet Trekkie growing up too. I couldn't tell. I grew up in the hood, man. If my friends knew I was watching Deep Space Nine, they would have whooped my butt. See, Jerry says he went to the range for 5 hours today, man. That's awesome.
Nice.
Randy, yes, we know, Randy. We already got past that, Randy.
Moving on.
Moving on. Oh yeah, I love getting the big turkey leg. So at the one here, they actually have like a pirate ship stage that's cut in half, and there's like you can get fish and chips all behind it. And there's a live band. There's like a pirate band that sings all these tunes and stuff. Man, it is. You can sit there, drinking, eating, singing, shout. It's not that I
Tell
would
me
do
there are
that.
sea shanties. Are there sea shanties? Because that was like the 5 minutes of the pandemic that were the best 5 minutes of the pandemic.
What's that?
Was when sea shanties were popular.
Sea shanties? You mean like songs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they sing quite a few. I bought the CD. And then we listened to it on the way home. The kids love it, man.
They're super
Annette
fun.
is a member of Mensa. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm not actually.
No, she would never lower herself.
Oh, come
Mensa.
on.
What a bunch of losers. No. Oh man, I know where Annette's getting dragged. So
I'm
why?
not going to Penzic.
I gotta know now. Why don't you go to the Ren Fair?
I just haven't been. We haven't. It's not been something that's fit into my life in terms of schedule and time and people and everything else. And the person I've been harassing to take me to the Ren Fair, the pandemic happened, so there were no Ren Fairs to go to.
Well, I tell you what.
And he's very judgy and says the Pennsylvania Ren Fair is just not good enough.
Texas. The one out here is phenomenal.
It's a little far.
Nah, not for this one.
Houston's a terrible flight from here.
If you fly out, I'll buy your tickets.
Oh, that's tempting. I'll do a whole stick wedding for you.
When you go to your first Ren Fair, just geek out, dress up.
Oh, for sure.
Head to toe. Just dress up.
For
just
sure.
embrace the geekiness.
Absolutely. I think one of the best parts about sort of like 2022 and like being in the 21st century is like we all get to be geeks now, and it's amazing. Like we can let the geek flag fly, and it's okay.
Well, to a point. I mean, there's still things I'm into that are still frowned upon. So
I won't kink shame. There's no kink shaming here.
What's funny at the Ren Fair? So the Ren Fair does have some shops, and when you walk into, you're like, wow. So I walked into a leather shop and walked into a back room. And I slowly walked out of that back room.
Like Homer.
Yeah, right. I was like, whoa. I just wanted a cat and nine tails. I didn't want like actual spikes and like any of that. What are these balls used for? I don't know. Back away, folks. Back away. Anyways, I haven't been to a Ren Fair since I was like 7. Ah, you do it. It's so much fun. Jay Curry, I'm the lightsaber champion. I bet you are, Jay. I bet you are. Well, Annette, I've kept you on here for an hour and a half, and man, I gotta say, it was so much fun. I have a lot more questions to go through, so let's set this up for another month out.
Absolutely.
Are
Let's do
you
this
coming to
again.
Houston anytime soon?
Houston is not currently in my travel plans. I'm actually skipping over and going to Phoenix in August. Don't
Oh,
ask. Well, actually, there's a class that I really wanted to take. It just happens to be in Phoenix in August. They promised me it's indoors.
it's gonna be a little hot.
They,
Well,
pro-
see, Arizona has dry heat though.
they promised me it's indoors.
The dry heat's not bad. Out here in Houston, the humidity, it's a little brutal.
A little rough.
But yeah, let's definitely set this up. You all heard it here, folks. She said she would come back on in about a month. So
I'll be
I still
back.
have like 25 questions to ask. So we have a lot more to go through,
We'll work our way through them.
right? Well, thank you so much. You want to let's plug your channel. So here is her YouTube channel. What is it up to now? Let's see.
So that one is up to 407.
All right. So 7 on that one or 6. And the other one we got you 20.
205 on her own.
What? So we got you 25.
Nice.
Nice. Well, man,
Thank you, everybody.
that was so much fun. I can't wait to see the massive amounts of video content you have coming down the pipe. I know it's going to be, I'm going to pace myself.
I feel
No,
a little pressured here, but I'll see what I can do.
but just, taking just a vlog, like honestly, what I think would be great for your channel, just, you doesn't have to be reviews and all this technical mumbo jumbo. There's tons of those guys out there. Just a real world 10-minute, hey, this is what I'm doing today. This is what I wear. This is what I take to a training session because I have questions. How do you build a battle belt to take? I don't know.
I don't.
Like, how do you know what to clip on those stupid things? What do you bring to a class? There's so many cool things you could tap into. I'd watch it. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, we'll see what we can do. We'll see what kind of time I can dig up to do things like that.
Ah, you got it. It'd be great.
Sleep is for the weak.
Right? Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. And definitely subscribe to Annette's plethora of channels and her information. She has so much good stuff out there. A lot of good write-ups. I got some reading to do. And I took so many notes. I've never taken notes during a live before. I got homework.
Yeah, homework. I'll help you with it.
All right,
Thank you
guys.
so much. And I'll be back.
All right. Till next time, guys.